been about a year since I started my own business, media company slash podcast collective. About 3 months since I started taking it seriously as a thing that could potentially pay my rent. And about 5 weeks since I quit my day job to become what I am, a full-time podcaster. But for 2 years before that, I worked in and around small businesses, and I thought I knew what I had to know before starting my own. Turns out that's not true. I don't think anything can prepare you for doing it except for doing it. So both for my own posterity and for the benefit of those that may be watching, here are some of the lessons I've learned in my first month as a full-time entrepreneur. Firstly, I have learned that there is always more to do, so it's really important that I start my day working on the thing that is the most important. Not the most urgent, the most important. This is something they teach you in business school, which I've not attended, but I have worked in, which is to kind of triage problems as being important or unimportant and urgent and not urgent. Obviously, you should work on the urgent and important things first, but the temptation is to work on the urgent and unimportant things as well. But actually, if you do that, you'll never work on what's important. So when I worked for other people, that meant that I worked on podcast stuff. I started building Multitude in the morning before I left for work, or in my old finance day job, I would get to work very early so that I didn't have to commute during rush hour, and then I spent my first hour at my desk working for myself. But now everything is working for myself and working on my projects. So it's more important than ever that I don't just do what's in front of me, which I'm pretty good at doing. I'm not really a procrastinator. I will sit down and answer the emails on my inbox, or whatever it may be. But it is really important that I write out in my planner what exactly the morning is for, every morning. And that's usually stuff that is involved or annoying enough that I put off doing it. It might be like starting an important tracking spreadsheet for the work that I'm doing, which feels like it isn't work because it's not getting more stuff done. It's just tracking the stuff that I already did. But it's really important. It's important that I know what ads I'm selling and when people are supposed to pay me for them. It's important that I write proposals to send to people. It's important that I send emails to folks I've worked with in the past, informing them of what I'm doing now. It might not be urgent, but it's important. Another kind of work planning thing that's really important is to cluster meetings. So I try my best to only have meetings and phone calls on 1 or 2 days a week. There's this thing you can read about online, this theory of the maker schedule versus the manager schedule. The idea being that managers kind of bounce from meeting to meeting and get things done depending on who they're talking to, but makers, creative people more broadly, need uninterrupted time to really sink deeply into the thing that they are working on and not to be pulled out at random times by various people. And even if you have nothing on your day, on your calendar until like 4 p.m., you still start that day knowing in the back of your mind that you'll have to stop at some point for a previously scheduled meeting. And that does get in the way of creativity. I don't identify as an artist, but there is enough deep work, as the scholar Cal Newport puts it, that I do my best to have some days where all I have to do is talk and work with myself. Because lesson number 3, I am the boss. And that is in some ways understandable. I've always been a leader. I've always been in charge of programs. I've managed people for a long time now. I managed interns, in my finance jobs. So I'm used to delegating work and overseeing people's projects and helping my teammates and peers to get their work done. But it's a different thing when I answer to no one but myself, because I need to have vision. I need to make decisions about where we're going next and to communicate them. It's scary when you work with your friends, especially, to tell them things instead of ask them things, or to inform people what's happening next instead of making a suggestion that someone else may or may not accept. But I need to have the guts to know what is right, to make that decision, and to follow through on it. Which brings me to lesson number 4, which was the hardest one for me to learn, and I've been working on for the last couple of years, actually. And that's that no one is going to die if they are mad at me. I'm not going to die if someone is mad at me. They are not going to die if I do something to make them mad. Every bone in my body aches at the thought of making someone else angry. Both because I don't want to hurt other people, but also I don't want to experience the discomfort of having someone else be mad at me. But the thing is that that's inevitable. And to a large extent, I can't control what other people think of me. and what they think of my stuff and my actions and my business. I can only make the most responsible decision I can. I can make the best choice for me. I can do my best not to harm other people, but being able to sit in that discomfort and to know that if I give someone a counteroffer for a proposal that's more than what they want to pay, or I tell someone I can't work with them because I don't support their project or our values are at odds, they might be mad, but no one is going to die. And it is a challenge, and I am still learning how to sit in that discomfort. But it's a really important thing that I say to myself out loud sometimes when I have to send an email that I know someone else doesn't want to receive, or make a phone call to tell someone a hard thing, or disappoint someone. I have to tell myself, no one's going to die. And finally, this is my business, and I get to decide how I run it. I get to decide what our values are. I get to decide how to spend our money, and I must make those decisions, because if I don't make conscious choices for myself and my business, I am just propagating the status quo, which sometimes is fine, but oftentimes is not. And it is up to me to change things that I think are wrong. It's up to me not to support systems based on racism and sexism and inequality. It is harder and more expensive to do the right thing most of the time. And just because other people don't bother to, doesn't mean that it takes me off the hook morally. I am still responsible for being an ethical person, for running an ethical business, and for improving the world and the industry. And that's one of those things that might not appear to be urgent, but is really, really, really important. So 5 weeks in, that's what this feels like, and that's what I think I have learned, and what I'm gonna do my best to try to do going forward. Thank you as always for watching. I will see you for the second to last day of Veto tomorrow.